Live, yes. Yes, no. Maybe so. It looks like we are. Fantastic. Hello, everybody. I'm Technovoid. Back once again. Another Friday comes and goes, and Technovoid has returned to you to play more Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time we played this game, we finished off a case. We finished off case 2, in which Spear did his little dance, and no one was very happy about that. And then he went to jail, so that was pretty cool. I did like that part. And this time we're gonna get straight back into it with the next case, the return of the great departed soul. Let's head into it. I'm excited. We're like, this is the halfway point for this game. Pretty hype. Pretty hype. This is where shit's gonna start hitting the fan, most likely. Or it's gonna be a really shitty mid-case.
Grand end of the century great exhibition of London. Surely there is not a soul who has failed to hear of it.
Surely not. They'd surely be a dipshit if they
Wondrous
hadn't.
works of culture and industry from every corner of the globe had converged on Hyde Park, welcoming over 50 million visitors.
It's a lot of visitors.
The last great
It's more than I have at my house. Hopefully they're all keeping distant during the COVID.
and delighted people of all nations, and ended on a note of resounding success.
It's good to hear. That's what you want to hear.
But as regards to the terrible catastrophe that occurred during the festivities,
Oh, do
very few
tell.
were aware my friend Mr. Herlock Sholmes had a hand in unraveling the matter.
Unsurprising.
Or from the shadows, it was he who earnestly unearthed the facts of the case.
Of course he was. I'm sure he did that. Sure he
And
did
like the
that.
centerpiece of the great exhibition, which rose high into the skies of Hyde Park. Sholmes's brilliant deductions, as clear and lofty as the Crystal Tower itself, brought the truth to light.
If there's one thing Sholmes is good at doing, it's bringing things to light, such as the taste of soap.
We're here at the showground of the Great Exhibition, which is absolutely packed with people. The weather is unusually fine, and we're about to witness a most extraordinary scientific experiment.
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, the 20th century will see steam engines and electrical power dominate the world.
all right, buddy.
Horse-drawn carts will give way to the motor car. Ships will sprout wings and take to the skies.
Are you okay, buddy?
And today, we showcase even more advanced technology. A glimpse into the future. A world first. A demonstration of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine.
Super high voltage, huh? I can't imagine this would be involved in a murder at all. Nobody's gonna die.
A man
That's a
will
big
literally
megaphone.
be disassembled by a pulse of high voltage electricity and beamed to another location.
I think you're just gonna disintegrate them, actually.
Whereupon his body will be reassembled by a series of complex calculations exactly as it was before.
Now, see, I actually live in the future, and this isn't how we do things, so I get the feeling something's gonna go terribly wrong here. Let's send in some bad guys. Let's do it.
In but a few moments from now,
This man will be dead.
gentlemen will, in the blink of an eye, complete an incredible journey through the air. To arrive an instant later on the Crystal Tower behind you!
He's definitely gonna be dead. This doesn't seem. This seems very unscientific, my man. Oh my god, I can't believe it didn't work. Oh my lord. What, guys, what are the chances? Who could have seen this coming? Who could have seen the teleporter in the fucking 1900s not working? Oh my lord. Oh boy. That's the Sholmes suite, baby. Ah man, remember that time somebody died? Runo, are you listening? Oh, sorry, what was that, Iris? What's the matter with you? You've been miles away all morning. No, sorry, Miles Edgeworth is from a future game. I'm actually Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Didn't you like what I cooked for breakfast? No, that's not it at all. What were we talking about again? Today's paper. It's full of the news about the Great Exhibition again. Yes, the Great Exhibition. I'd like to go sometime. You're really not your usual self today. You seem very down. Don't you agree, Early? Yo, what up? Did you say something, Iris? Dude, it's a case of the seasonal depression. We all got it. Oh gosh, you're even more down. Ah! Oh, no, he's fine.
Well, when did you arrive, Mr. Naruhodo?
I've been here for about half an hour already. We had breakfast together.
What? Why didn't you mention it before?
I, thought you might have known I was here. You know, because... breakfast?
Iris is quite right. You're clearly lacking in vim. So much so that I didn't notice your presence.
Thanks.
Of course, I could deduce the reason perfectly well with some simple observations.
What?
Let's see. Yes, for example, your tousled hair this morning with all its unruly spikes. Clearly it can be deduced therefore that...
let me stop you there, Mr. Sholmes, because I think I can see where this is going. My hair always looks like this. It always has, ever since we first met, in fact.
Oh, really? How interesting. It just doesn't look like a haircut as such, I suppose.
Thanks again. Well, he's back to normal. It crossed my mind recently that it's been 6 months now. 6 months? Since I was forbidden from working in court. Are we gonna get an explanation on that, Rio? Why did I call you Rio? It's Ryu. So I've been wondering how much longer I'm gonna be banned. Oh, well, you know how Discord mods are. Don't you agree, Early? Bro, what is wrong with you?
Did you say something, Iris?
Discord mods. Yeah, you know how they are. Banning people from court. Yeah, they do that. You know how us Discord mods can be. Back to moping. What's the matter with Mr. Sholmes today? He seems even more down in the dumps than me. I know, and the Great Exhibition has opened. You'd think he'd be excited. Oh, why don't we all go see it together?
I want to, of course I do, but I can't. Not for the time being.
Why not?
Wobbuffet! Wobbuffet because I'm a great detective after all.
So you're embroiled in some tricky case that you can't be distracted from, is that it?
No, I'm too busy eating soap again.
I don't remember hearing that you're working on a case, Early. I suppose I should try to find out what's going on.
And you're going to have to speak to me through several dialogues to find out.
Half a year ago now, I took on the defense of a young girl in a trial heard at the Old Bailey. What at first seemed like a simple case of murder that took place at a London pawnbrokery. Oh, really? He was disbarred for that? Huh. Did they mention that at the end of the last game? Turned out to be one part of a much more far-reaching plot that involved the British government. During the course of the trial, it was found that I made an unavoidable, yet at the same time unforgivable mistake.
Words fail me. The situation is utterly deplorable. How will I get all the presents to the children this year, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, my lord.
I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial.
No, of course, my lord. In the end, I had my right to represent people in court revoked. I was told I had to spend my time in research and study, so that's what I've been doing. You have, haven't you, Runo? I wasn't talking out loud, I don't think. Reading all those big fat tomes about British law up in your room, and the notes about Sholmes' old cases.
Brewing Iris' special blends of tea, fetching my daily bread for me. You've become something of a manservant around here. Start on the silverware next, Master Naruhodo.
Well, I'm thinking of going to ask the powers that be to reconsider. Specifically Lord Strongheart of the British Supreme Court on Whitehall. Lord Strongheart?
Ah, the delightful Lord Chief Justice. Not my favorite fellow.
Yeah, Story, I know. He's not mine either, but he's the man I have to talk to. He's the only one who can grant permission for me to start working in the courts again. I'm gonna give him the Chaos Emeralds. I came to Britain to become the best lawyer I could, and I can't do that if I'm disbarred! The whole of London has been swept up in the Great Exhibition, hasn't it?
The most advanced science, the most modern technology, the finest works of art and feats of engineering, and some random fucking idiot who decided to murder a man. For the next 6 months, our capital will be showcasing these things, and the world will be watching.
Oh, do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to look down on London from one of those lovely balloons. Look down on? Do you mean those things fly? Yes, of course. They fly high in the sky and don't even need wings to do it. All you need is hot air. But how? Wait, but if all you need to fly is be full of hot air, why isn't Sholmes constantly floating and levitating? I can't understand it at all. That's true of a lot of new scientific discoveries, but you see, it's because Sholmes' head is too big, so he has too much mass, he can't rise off the ground. But in 100 years' time, all these things will just be common knowledge. I suppose they might be. Mind you, some of the science being demonstrated seems very questionable. Something went wrong on the open experimentation stage yesterday, apparently. There was a huge explosion. Still, I wish I'd seen it, though. I'd love to see how bad some of these scam experiments really are. Says the innocent 10-year-old girl.
See here, every page of this paper carries some article or other about the Great Exhibition. But the brighter things shine, the darker the shadows that are cast behind them. Personally, I find myself drawn to the darkness, to the impenetrable. That is my proper atmosphere.
Would Sholmes would absolutely play like a shitty rogue in D&D, just sitting in the back. No, he wouldn't. Edgy rogue. Edgy rogue. Shadows cast behind. Is that a metaphorical way of referring to the back page of the paper? Are you investigating a particularly tricky case at the moment, Mr. Sholmes?
You could say that, I suppose.
Nothing more to add? That's not like you. What sort of case is it?
Shh! Quiet, Mr. Naruhodo. We must not discuss it here. You never know who might be listening.
You're acting very strangely early. What do you mean, Iris? Well, usually, the more mysterious and complicated a case is, the better Early's mood.
Ah.
It really is a case that's bothering you.
Iris, please! You mustn't exercise your astute powers of observation and deduction on me without invitation. Remember what I always say, put yourself in the shoes of the individual about whom you're making deductions.
You say that, do you, Mr. Sholmes?
Never mind. Once I've had a cup of tea, I must make my way to the crime scene.
Ha. It was a deep sigh. Sholmes would probably be a hustler. High charisma. And Iris would be a machinist. Oh, I have a paper. Yeah, but he's an idiot. He doesn't have high int. He has very low wisdom, medium int, high charisma. Hustler and machinist is... Fuck. Aviator. So many glowing reports about the Great Exhibition and everything that's going on there. Other than this ragged, gloomy-looking one, that is. The lost cat? No! Someone lost a cat! Oh my god, no wonder Sholmes was in a bad mood. Wait, what? What's the matter, Runo? The Reaper attacked. That's Lord Van Zeeks! This must be what Sholmes was talking about. Oh, he's sad because his boyfriend got punched. Does he know anymore, I wonder? It says in the paper that Lord Van Zeeks was attacked. That's terrible! Had it coming, though.
You know the legend of the Reaper of the Bailey, of course, don't you? Only too well, in fact.
Yeah, Prosecutor Barrick Van Zeeks. Shows think he's still dead even. Possibly. It's possible he never got the message. They say that if the Reaper is the prosecutor in a case, there's no salvation for whoever's in the dock. Even if the defendant is found not guilty. Once the Reaper has someone in his sights, one way or another, that person's time left on this earth will be short.
London's finest rogues always find ways around the law. They'll stop at nothing to secure an acquittal at trial. Falsifying evidence, paying sham witnesses, threatening jurors, bribing judges. But even such devious tactics as these cannot save them from the hand of the Reaper. As you've experienced yourself, haven't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yeah, I've seen the Reaper's retribution at work.
Many of these criminal rogues are reckless and quite unafraid to die. If a leader among their fraternity is seen to have been taken by the Reaper, retaliation like this does occur. Really, the capital has a never-ending supply of such scoundrels.
So, do you mean Lord Van Zieks has been attacked like this before? This isn't the first time?
He's quite an accomplished combatant, you know. He doesn't take these attacks lying down. Although... except when he's sleeping. Then he takes it lying down, usually. Sometimes he sleeps standing up, it's kind of weird. Seems his assailants were armed with guns this time.
Oh my goodness! Is he alright then? Is Lord Van Zieks hurt?
My dear fellow, how on earth would I know? It's not like I'm his boyfriend or anything.
Well, in the article here it says, as to what of Lord Van Zieks and his condition. All will be revealed in tomorrow morning's edition.
That's a shitty cliffhanger.
I see. Well, we shall have to be patient then.
No, I can't wait until tomorrow.
In that case, you shall have to inquire with somebody in the know.
But who? Lord Strongheart, perhaps? It's 2 reasons to go for... Oh, you've gotten dressed.
Well, I must be leaving now.
Yes, understood. See you later, Mr. Sholmes.
Ha! You really are a shameless liar sometimes, my dear fellow.
What?
You seek to put me off my guard and follow me, don't you? Well, you would be wasting your time.
The thought hadn't crossed my mind, but now I'm wondering where you're going.
Well then, see you later indeed.
He's literally just inviting me. Listen to him, he's still laughing on his way out the door.
I am the great Detective Sholmes.
Oh, this is new.
Alright then, Runo, let's get going.
Iris, what are you wearing?
Oh, this is my GIMP suit. I've gotten changed to go to the Great Exhibition. You're going to take me.
What? But I was just about to go to the Supreme Court.
Oh, well that sounds fun too.
You're going to take me there then. I'm going to shoot Lord Strongheart in my GIMP suit. Alright, fine. Just lower that weapon, would you?
Of course, and after the Supreme Court, then we'll go see the Great Exhibition. And then I'll shoot up everyone there too.
A new location has been added. Let's go to Lord Chief Justice office. Strongheart, give me the good word. I want to be a prosecutor again with your 8-bit owls.
British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice Office.
It's been about 6 months now since I was last here. But some things never change, like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place. It's not appropriate, Iris. Doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there.
Oh, I love this place. I always find so many interesting books here. Like, you know, how to run a country and, you know, do terrible things without anybody noticing. You know, how to be a dictator 101.
The time we came here 6 months ago, when Suzato-san was given the news that she was to return to Japan.
Ah, I understand you wish to speak with me.
Oh, Lord Strongheart, I trust you've been keeping well.
Let's see. Since you arrived and requested an audience, it's been 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. I've kept you waiting a while. My apologies.
Oh no, not at all. I'd like nothing more than standing around staring into space. That's not a great way to start off your "Hey, I want to be a lawyer again" speech, buddy. Let's try that from the top.
Good to know.
Good to know. That doesn't appear to bother him at all. Miles Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of London. He's the man who allowed me to start practicing as a defense lawyer when I arrived in Britain as a student. You need only savor the air for a moment in this grand office to understand his preeminent status.
As you will be aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime. And furthermore, as of next month, we shall open the International Forensic Science Symposium.
Oh, I've not heard about that.
Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it. I'm T-posing to assert dominance on you, Naruhodo. As we're the hosting nation, I have much to do, and it is my highest priority. If others must wait for my attention as a result, so be it.
Well, it's nice to know where I stand. Right here in front of him, while he's brandishing that cane like a weapon.
So, you wish to consult with me? Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about.
Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as a defense lawyer again in court. That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing on my mind as it happens.
Runo, just take a deep breath and come out with it.
I actually came here today to ask for your permission.
Go on.
6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked and I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened, but the thing is, it made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system. And I desperately want to have another go. Please permit me to enter the courtroom again.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes? Here it comes.
I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriot. This was never your intended role.
Well, that's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on the study tour, not me. It should have been Kazuma. He was so determined to bring change to our own justice system at home. That was his calling. If that tragic accident hadn't happened. Wouldn't be here in this office now. Mr. Isogi was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished. I have to fulfill his calling for him.
His calling, you say? Has it never occurred to you that perhaps you know nothing of his true calling?
Sorry?
The mission with which that young law student was charged, what do you suppose it really was?
What do you mean? Mission? He's not making any sense.
Never mind. I've read all the reports you've submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions.
Do you mean?
As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain.
Thank you so much.
That's wonderful news, Runo. And just in time, too, because there's been a murder!
In fact, I believe I have the perfect case to mark your comeback. A curious affair. You'll consider it, I hope.
Of course. Please tell me more.
All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to coincide with the Great Exhibition. And next month, the largest and most important of them will all take place at last. The International Forensic Science Symposium.
It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it?
Exactly!
Ah!
My T-posing even scares the birds in the back. London, the global epicenter of culture, science, and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Yet there's only actually 6 people in the entire country because those are the only people that go on the jury. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate, so it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible.
Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it?
Exactly, the future of policing.
Ah!
Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods.
Oh dear, that's alarming.
Exactly, it's extremely alarming.
Ah!
If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you can be sure the numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different to the current figures. And and I can cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to support my claim.
Damn, alright. Sorry.
By way of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail everyone now. 57 precepts of Zoe time, let's go! What?
Oh, how fascinating.
It all began 15 years ago. I was...
Naruhodo, no. You're gonna white out, you're gonna lose half your money and half your items, no. Strongheart, aren't you all about not wasting time? Oh, it's my 1-year anniversary with Diggory. Oh, thank you, honey. Thank you for the sub.
And that more or less sums up my feelings on the matter. In the simplest terms, of course. Essentially, to formally establish a forensic investigation division within Scotland Yard. That is my mission.
Oh, right, yes, that's wonderful.
Exactly. Wonderful is precisely what it will be. When I murder everyone. You weren't listening at all to my past 25 minutes of rambling about murdering everybody, were you?
I wasn't paying attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now.
See, all I do is I ramble on a really long time and nobody listens to me when I start talking about committing war crimes.
Oh, is it over? Did you learn anything useful?
I actually drifted off for the most part. He's surprisingly ardent about forensic science. Do you describe it as a curious affair?
Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. Are you aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday?
Oh, no.
Yes, I read about it. A professor from Germany tried to carry out a crazy experiment. Those damn Germans all the time, killing everyone. Let me see, how is it described? Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I think.
Instantaneous kinesis, as in moving things with a click of the fingers?
That's right. It's just what my herbal blends need. A dash of devil-may-care.
Whatever the serious accident was exactly, it's clearly captured Iris's imagination.
It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. Odie Asman.
Oh, Odie Asman. Okay, that's gotta be a pun, right? Odie Asman? Odie Asman. Odie. He's an ass man. He likes ass. No, maybe when we learn more about him, but I can't see the pun yet.
Investor and well-known figure in society.
Large explosion.
A man died? Not a woman? Oh, that's unfortunate.
The man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert
Hairbrain. Okay. OD's nuts! Got him! Okay, well, I think we all know what Albert Hairbrain is a pun on. That one's not as difficult.
He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow. On the charge of murder.
What? Murder?
Yes, murder. Am I not enunciating? If you intend to take out his defense, you should hurry to be with him at the prison. There is very little time left for you to carry out any kind of investigation.
The Great Exhibition, a scientific experiment gone wrong, and murder? I feel out of my depth before I've even started. Still. Dumb idiot disease.
We should go to the prison straight away then and meet this German professor, don't you think?
Definitely.
Yes. One more thing about the case. You are to lose it, do you understand? There's a connection with our mutual acquaintance, the Reaper.
Oh, with Lord Van Zeeks? How? Are you gonna tell me about that? Do I have to court record something? Do I present this to you? Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen this?
The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition. No.
No, not that. The story on the back page.
What story? The Reaper attacked. Ah, that. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not?
Poor Mr. Reaper. What happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he?
There's no need for concern. Lord Van Zeeks would not be so easily dispatched, I assure you. I've tried.
Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know.
Very well. If it interests you, HIPAA laws be damned.
It does, strangely.
Fortunately, Lord Van Zieks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He's a very capable fighter.
But that's incredible. They were armed with guns. Why was he attacked, though? Do we know?
I ordered them to do it. A leader of one of the capital criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Van Zieks. But the man was acquitted. I have no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes.
Large sums of money?
A deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday.
But you're not suggesting that was the work of the Reaper, surely?
The victim's henchmen certainly seem to think so. He was a name by the man of Asman, Mr. Odie Asman.
Did you say Asman? Oh shit! Ah!
That's the man who died in the big explosion of the Great Exhibition.
Yes, known publicly as an investor, but in reality, the head of a significant criminal organization.
Unbelievable. I wonder, could I ask you something, Lord Strongheart?
Absolutely not.
Why do you use Lord Van Zieks as a prosecutor? All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with mysterious ends outside the courtroom. And fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord Van Zieks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still, something is clearly going on here.
I have Van Zieks work for the prosecution service for 2 reasons. Firstly, I find the man attractive. And secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials are nothing to do with him.
But that doesn't make sense. How can you explain the way so many have died if not by someone's hand?
Oh no, by somebody's hand, just not his, it's mine. Van Zieks may have earned himself the moniker of Reaper, but he is no killer. So he will continue to prosecute on behalf of the crowd. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course.
Well, he did wish otherwise for 5 years until my ass came to town.
Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement. I'm already 11 hours and 16 minutes late. My colleagues may be starting to fidget.
11 hours late? That's quite something. Is that how long he talked to me about his 213 feces?
That meeting has already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man.
I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. Oh, yes. Where would I find Lord Van Zieks now?
I would assume he's at his office.
Right, I'll go ask him about the attack in person. I want to get this straight from the horse's mouth.
Oh no, it'll definitely be gay from the horse's mouth. Have you met the man? Extra as fuck. I'm leaving Professor Hairbrain's defense entirely in your hands.
Of course, yes. Thank you very much, my lord. Alright, let's get out of here. Let's go talk to... Oh, new location's been added. Oh, this is our first time meeting Van Zieks. Your Honor, he's an idiot. I'm allowing that message. Come on, auto mod.
Ooh, so this is the legendary Reaper's office?
Yes, it appears so.
It sends a chill down your spine, doesn't it? What an amazingly deathly atmosphere.
Oh, is that... That hooded figure was so still I hadn't noticed his or her presence. I wonder who it is.
What are you doing here?
Ah! Oh, hello. Yo, what up? He's as unwelcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're well.
I am.
Sam, I am. So who's the person over the wall being punished or something or other?
No punishment is taking place here.
Oh.
That's just his kink. That's my apprentice, and he's sitting there on his own free will.
I didn't know you had an apprentice. It must be the same person who was pictured in the newspaper. Nice mask, bro.
He's very able in combat, a requisite skill for anyone under my tutelage.
Do you think like Van Zieks chucks bottles of wine and he like the apprentice has to like fucking like chop them up or whatever, like in the air, like fucking Fruit Ninja? Bottles of wine ninja. Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers?
The Reaper? I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself. Assuming, that is, such a fabled fiend genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms.
Hey, let's have some talks, buddy. What if Strongheart said the assault last night was some sort of revenge attack?
True. Carried out by the henchmen of Odie Asmon's criminal organization. The investigation meant their arrests were imminent. Presumably some hoped to kill me before that happened.
Odie Asmon.
He's always masqueraded as one of London's most powerful financiers. A global investor.
Snoop around his room.
But his enormous wealth came to him by underhand means via his criminal activities.
And he's used that money to buy himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he? Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper.
But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact, in extraordinary circumstances. It was a most unusual cause of death.
I know about that. It was super high voltage instantaneous kinesis gone wrong. Mr. Asmon died when the demonstration on the public experimentation stage ended up in an enormous explosion.
Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you?
Well, no, that does seem a little far-fetched. But I don't know, man, if you're an Alola, I suppose, not Alola, sorry, what's the gen where you can evolve it into Surfetched? Fucking Galar. Is it Galar or Galar? I think most people say Galar, like Galarian form, but like Galarian form, Garlarian form. If this man is really the fabled Reaper, then it has to be an innocent. This particular,
Strange how this has worked out, isn't it, Bruno? I mean, what with you taking on the Professor's defense for the trial tomorrow?
What? You're going to be defending him?
No, yes, that's right. Though I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest.
Albert. Albert Hairbrain.
That's right. Do you know him by any chance?
Shit, dude, we're drinking buddies. He's a contemporary of mine. We were at university together.
You're... What? Alright, well, I'm gonna do the thing Stormy has suggested and snoop around your room real quick. I hope you'll apologize. I hope you'll apologize while I do this.
Sorry.
Look at all the fine collection of hallowed chalices and bottles neatly lined up there, all to be thrown out the window.
My hallowed bottles are filled with the essence of the finest grapes from the fittest vineyards I visit. And I personally oversee these chalices being made by the finest crystal craftsmen in the world.
You just have a lot of money to throw away, huh?
And yet you throw them around the court like they're worthless.
Yes, because this imbecile is so unimaginably and repeatedly wide of the mark sometimes.
Oh. Oh. They were roommates!
Before you open your mouth next time, you should consider the poor artisans whose work you defile.
You do that! Stop gaslighting me! It's my fault, silly me. How could have I ever thought otherwise? So it's like I came over to your side of the bench and fucking picked up the bottle and chucked it! You bitch! Lord Van Zeke's desk. Look, it's so stylish.
And that's a marble chess set beside it.
Chess. That's the Western version of our Japanese shogi game, isn't it? Shogi D's not. That doesn't work. You know, I'm actually quite good at shogi problems.
Oh, really? You'd probably like chess problems in that case.
I'd love to challenge Lord Van Zeke sometime. To a bout of shogi problems.
If you only really want to challenge yourself, you can always do that on your own at home.
Shogi. Look at that man. That portrait really dominates the room, doesn't it? Oh, fuck! Is that him? It's a very majestic outfit and pose, but sadly, whoever painted it didn't do a very good job of capturing Lord Van Zeke's facial features. Unless it's not Van Zeke's.
Yes, you're right. I mean, it's not far off, but the artist exaggerated his subject's handsomeness, I think.
Ah, that reminds me. I heard Emperor Napoleon of France ordered artists to make him look more attractive when they painted him.
How vain. That's really not an attractive quality in a person, is it?
That portrait does not depict me! Surely that's immediately obvious.
Oh, then who is it? Your more attractive brother? Okay. Alright, I guess.
Ooh, look, it's a scale model of the Great Exhibition Showground.
That's amazing. I wonder why it's here.
Perhaps he made it to take his mind off the sadness of being too busy to attend in person.
Or perhaps he's too embarrassed to queue up for a ticket.
Surely it's obvious that I'm using it as an investigative aid.
Ah,
You Nipponese have no business painting others as overly reserved.
I really didn't think he'd overhear that. Everyone can read your thoughts, Naruhodo. We've been over this. Alright, what else we got here? Anything? Why do you have bats in here? Why do you have live bats in here? Bro! That's illegal, I think.
Yes, the Reaper's familiars, I expect.
Well, what about the mute man in the dark cloak? I thought he was the familiar. Just not the flying kind.
He must be a dear friend of Mr. Reaper, then.
He's a fucking vampire. He's a vampire. I think the familiar idea is more likely. Scary though. Either way. It's actually Van Zeke's cousin. It was just taking a rest. Look at all those ancient casks lining the wall there.
Casks in the Reaper's chamber. Or are they caskets?
You don't think all those people who escaped conviction and quarter lying inside them to dead, do you?
What ridiculous notions are going through your head, man? This is my collection of fine vintages.
Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you for clearing that up.
No, you see, I put the dead bodies inside. It gives the wine more flavor.
Runo and I were just musing to ourselves. Don't mind us, Mr. Reaper.
You're in my office. I wouldn't if you had invited yourselves to my office to talk nonsense within my earshot.
I love this. That was very good. Hey, can we talk about this whole situation? Really looks like a punishment to me.
I've never seen someone sitting like that before.
He hasn't moved a muscle since we arrived. Do you think perhaps he's dead?
If he was dead, Runo, he wouldn't be sitting up, would he?
Well, anyway, dead or alive, he's not overly approachable, is he? I don't think he's gonna talk to us.
He's not dead.
Okay.
I'd understood that Professor Hairbrain was from Germany, though.
So am I. Hairbrain's from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out research, that's all.
So you were students together.
I was in the faculty of law, of course, and he in science, so our paths rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along, though I'd not met him since our university days. Certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form. And with you of all people representing him.
Ugh, only if I make it out of this office alive. He's actually been charged with murder, it seems?
Yes, I know. Because the prosecution will be handled by me.
Oh my god! Who could have seen it coming?
But you made it sound as if you and the professor have been friends.
We are friends, it's true.
Then why would you do this?
If the Reaper is the prosecutor, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's doomed.
What's Lord Van Zeke's thinking? Hey, Lord Van Zeke's, what you thinking? What do you mean by what you said before? If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean...
I'm a crown prosecutor and immortal like any other. I'm no demigod. Even though my abs might make me look like one.
They have all died, haven't they? The people you've prosecuted, I mean. Whether or not the trial ended in conviction or an acquittal.
Those I prosecute are the vilest wretches of our society. All my ex-boyfriends. People who or the Nipponese. People who without question deserve to be found guilty. The world is a better place without them.
But that's not true of Mr. Natsume, for example. He wasn't a vile wretch at all.
Nor was Ginny. In fact, she ever so hardworking now.
Look, I'm a bad judge of character, okay? I can't deny that since I encountered you, things have taken a turn. But the point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped justice subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it was at the hand of their own kind. It's not my work.
Oh, Strongheart said the same. He believes you're not involved in any way.
But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believed it's true.
The fact is, since people started to call me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of secret serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially.
Oh.
It would appear that even the most hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives.
Do you mean to say?
I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I adopt it gladly and with honor.
But it's putting you in danger. You could be killed.
Fuck nah, dude. Have you seen my abs?
Lord Van Zeeks. Okay. Is that... Do we present something to him? Okay. What happens if I present this to you? I know you've seen this around my arm before, but...
What is it exactly?
It's the mark of a defense lawyer, in Japan at least.
And what's your reason for showing it to a British prosecutor?
Oh, well... no, really.
I can understand at least. There's merit in reminding yourself of who helped you become what you are today.
Oh.
But that's a personal matter. Something you may want to keep close at all times, not something to flaunt.
No, I suppose not. Thank you for understanding, though. Oh, I got... Oh, inspirational roots. Wowie zowie. Lord Van Zeeks, about the article in this paper.
Ah, yes, it seems there was a reporter nearby when that little skirmish took place. I had no idea I'd been photographed. It was careless of me.
It looks as though it was taken after the people who attacked you had run away, though.
Rest assured, the police have already apprehended every last one of them.
But there's something else fighting along you, it seems. A certain guy. Hooded guy. I think it's the same man who's over there as we speak, isn't it?
As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice.
So you can tell us a little more about him? How many did he fight? There's like 6 of them.
He's in my tutelage to become a prosecutor. So you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose.
Ah, like you are to Hurley then, Runo.
Hold on. No, that's not right. That ain't right. You got that one wrong, buddy.
He's currently compiling a report about last night's attack.
Looks like he's wearing some kind of mask?
On Lord Strongheart's orders. Nobody knows the man's face, or indeed his identity.
But why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious individual?
Lord Strongheart's orders again. He's not one of your meaningless follies. There will be good reason for his actions.
I hope you're right. Oh. Oh. Hey, hey, buddy. You looking a bit angry there? You gonna be alright? You gonna be... Don't scare me like that.
The task is complete? Good. In that case, you can collate all the briefs.
Nice to meet you? Back to work again. That was really strange, though. I've never met the man before. I didn't even know he existed. And yet, somehow it didn't feel like our first encounter.
Don't bother trying to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody from outside this office. Lord Strongheart has strictly forbidden it.
Oh, I see.
Why are you so interested in my apprentice anyway?
I know, he's kind of cute. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. The way he stood there so casually, yet with that flawless posture. It couldn't be.
Ah, yes, there's something I've been meaning to ask you.
Oh, what's that?
That Nipponese man, is he faring well?
Sorry?
The one arrested twice in succession 6 months ago, with the stoop and the mustache and the jitters.
Ah, Mr. Natsume, you mean?
I'm not sure he'd be very pleased to find out you identified him from that list, Runo.
He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by international post only the other day.
I see.
Do you feel bad, Van Zeeks?
Well, I think we can end our discussion here, don't you? There's little time left before tomorrow's trial. I advise you to spend it investigating the case.
Yes, thank you for the advice and for the conversation. I can't believe he's asking after Saseki-san. After a Nipponese! Character development! Not sure whether to feel happy about that or worried. Fair enough. Maybe not character development.
Never imagined that Mr. Reaper would be friends with the mad scientist, did you? That's a turn up for the books.
A mad scientist? You mean Professor Hairbrain? Yeah, it might be worth quizzing the professor on his relationship with Lord Van Zeeks, I think. Alright, well let's get move on. Let's get move on to the prison. Oh, it's nice to not see Saseki-san in here for once. The warden said cell 11. That's this one.
Oh, there's someone curled up in a ball in the back corner.
What's his name again? Professor Albert Hairbrain? Was that? Excuse me, Professor Hairbrain. Who are you? I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a defense lawyer.
A lawyer!
Was it something I said?
A lawyer, you say? Would you be here about the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis?
Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't...
Yesterday's demonstration. That magnificent demonstration was an out-and-out success by anyone's calculations. But despite that, no one listens. No lawyer believes in the science. When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity.
Why do we always get the fucking freaks? Why are we always defending fucking spazoids? That's probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration late for a while too. Yo, I'm defending you, I guess. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday. Why does Van Zeeks date freaks?
The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, the man died in the explosion, didn't he?
Ah! Yes, you could interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense, the experiment was a failure, but at the same time it was a great success. Now I know what not to do.
You've lost me.
I saw it with my own eyes, right there in front of me. Mr. Ashman was spontaneously disassembled. Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculations had predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. However,
the machine exploded and Mr. Ashman in fact perished?
Yes, I can't deny that part of the experiment was a failure.
So what you're really saying is, the large explosion that killed Mr. Ashman was an accident, correct?
No, I did not intend to do it.
The bigwigs arrested you on suspicion of murder.
I was responsible for a man's death. That is the immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished. At once! But... Murder! Never in a million years! It was an accident. Simply an accident.
I see.
Hurley and I were talking this morning, you know. He said the situation would change completely depending on whether it was treated as an accident or murder.
How exactly?
Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody.
On what grounds?
Ah, yes, it's newly established here in Britain. The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
That one passed me by.
But if the case is treated as murder,
then they'll say my machine was a murder weapon, and they'll be able to pour over it as much as they like. If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My precious hypothesis will be stolen. The machine must be protected from that at all costs. That's why it is imperative this whole incident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial.
I see now. The Reaper's varsity years is the third option. They're hilarious. So in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showground yesterday.
Yes, or rather no. The devil is in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion.
Sounds the same to me.
You were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fascinating. Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible using a sufficiently high voltage to break those bonds and beam the particles through space. That's it in a nutshell. That's my idea.
Yeah, no, I totally get the breaking people apart part. What doesn't work is the bringing people back together part, my dude. It's not that hard to vaporize someone. It's harder to do the other thing. Gosh, that's unimaginably high-level science.
Yes, you just shoot someone very hard.
Oh, but dare to imagine it. Dare to dream of such incredible technology. Just think. One moment I could be here in this cell, and the next I could be at the Great Exhibition again.
Well, yes, that would be incredible.
And the next, in the mere blink of an eye,
I could be at a Great Patterson Theatre, say.
the possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast planet would be within reach.
So no more hiding in wardrobes and rocky seas for 15 days.
I don't really see it like that.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel it had shrunk.
My word, that's exactly right.
What are the implications? What does this mean?
Dude's been laid bare by a 10-year-old girl. Let's go.
Oops, that's got Professor Bunnybrain really worried by the looks of it.
Hairbrain, bunny brain. Hell yeah, let's go. Iris is great. Clear, this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose.
The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works.
Without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. And that's always the fly in the ointment.
I keep murdering people by accident. I mean, killing them by accident.
That's because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money, the money that young scientists like you don't have.
That's exactly it, yes.
Early's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science.
Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time.
I met the well-known investor, Mr. Asman.
The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. O.D. Asman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man?
He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thanked my lucky stars.
I see, so you hadn't really known each other until then.
Money for scientific research. I'm so envious.
As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel.
Oh, really?
An archangel, even.
He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for presentation at the Great Exhibition. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Asman provided me with money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications. But then your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion.
As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Asman. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life.
Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. Tell me about Baby Reaper. I understand Lorne Van Zieks is a friend of yours from your university days?
Yes, that's right. He was studying law whilst I was studying science.
What was he like back then?
A good question. Unassuming, gentlemanly, an all-round nice fellow, really.
What the fuck happened? Sorry, I think you misheard me. I'm talking about the cold-hearted, merciless prosecutor Baron Barak Van Zieks. What was he like when he was at university?
Talk about a leading question, Runo.
As I said, an unassuming and extremely pleasant gentleman. After all, he is the little darling of the Van Zieks family, with all its great aristocratic origins.
I didn't realize he had quite such noble blood.
Yeah, they're vampires! Little darling.
It was a bit of a shock when I came back to Britain and learned what he'd become. The Reaper of the Bailey, no less.
Yeah, that's right.
I did hear, though, that there was a very big event in his life that completely changed him after graduation.
Really? What sort of event?
How the fuck would I know?
I'm sorry, but I don't know anymore. I wasn't in the country at the time. I was in Germany already.
Oh, yeah, of course. You're not useful. He's heard all about the Reaper. Really don't have the heart to tell him that Lord Van Zieks will be the prosecutor in court tomorrow.
Oh, I heard you. You speak under your breath, you know.
So, Professor, let me just make absolutely sure I've understood you properly. The huge explosion that occurred yesterday, that was an accident, you're saying? You had no intent to harm the victim, who was in fact the sole investor in your work. Is that correct?
As correct as 2 squared is 4, I swear it! Yes, it's true that the man perished in a machine of my invention, so I know that I'm far from blameless in all this. But still, I would never use my discoveries, my inventions, to take a person's life. Not in a centillion years. I'm a man of science, it's all I know. You have to believe me, please. Do you believe me? Do you believe in my hypothesis? Science is the pursuit of truth, you know. I've always believed that, all my life.
I'm afraid I don't know much about science, or your theories, but I do believe you, and I will fight to prove your innocence with all my might. I'm a man of the law, it's all I know. You have to believe me, please.
When I went to live in Germany after I graduated, I learned something very important. Nationality, class, lineage, none of that matters. As long as you try your hardest, you can achieve anything.
Thank you for that, Professor.
And thank you in advance for defending me tomorrow in court.
Alright, Runo,
It's time to visit the Great Exhibition.
sorry?
Well, that's where the incident happened, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Time to investigate at last. Alright, enjoy jail. I'm going on a Great Exhibition. Ugh, the sugar runs are a little too big for my liking. We've been walking around in dense crowds for 2 hours now, and I've felt myself swooning 3 times.
There are a lot of people, aren't there? I've almost been trodden on 3 times too.
Be careful, won't you, Iris? Don't let go of my hand. We finally made it through the throngs, though, by the look of it. Here we are underneath the public experimentation stage where the explosion happened yesterday. What's that? I can hear voices from up on the stage. Sounds like an argument. Oh, hello.
What? Oh, why do we do this, Tom? I'm warning you, I'll arrest you in a minute.
Oh yeah, go on then, Inspector, give it a shot. You ain't got no evidence and you know it.
Wait, I know those voices.
You got a cheeky little mouth on you, young lady, but not the sales will teach you some manners.
Just try it, I dare you. If you want a bag of chips rammed down your throat. Yoo-hoo, Gregsy, what are you doing up there?
Eat you! Here, you're here, here you are, you here, your ladyship! How are you, your ladyship? I do hope you're well, your ladyship.
Does that make her 3 times a lady?
I'm not well at all. It's far too busy everywhere. I wanted to ride in a balloon, but there was a 3-hour queue.
Unbelievable! I'll go and have a word with you at once, your ladyship. You'll be flying this high in quite no time once I pull some strings for you.
Tobias Gregson, an inspector at Scotland Yard. Until recently, he was suspended from duty, but it would appear he's back in action now. He's actually quite well known, appearing as he does in The Adventures of Hairlock Sholmes, and for that reason, he can't say a word wrong to the story's author, Iris. But there are limits, surely. Or there should be.
Wash it, sunshine!
Sorry.
What gives then? Don't tell me you're on this case.
Yeah, I'm acting for the defense. Yeah, Stormy, Gregson's gonna come out of this screen and get angry at you personally, you 10-year-old.
So we're here to investigate.
Dear me, that's the situation, is it?
Is it really that troubling?
Measly 5 bob, is that all you got?
He's gonna suck your dick, you 10-year-old. I mean, that's what he does to Iris, basically. She's a 10-year-old.
You're a lawyer, ain't you? You can stand carry a bit more copper around your pockets, Mr. Naruhodo.
What? Hey, that's my last bit of spending money, that is.
You can have it back, but I'll have to charge you for all the bother. 3 bob.
This is Gina Lestrade, a pickpocket, or diver, born and bred in the East End of London. In the case that led to my own suspension 6 months ago, this is the young girl I was defending in court.
What's your problem, eh, Otto? Diver, pickpocket, what's the full name calling? You want a bag of chips running down your throat and all, do ya?
I thought you were proud to be a diver, Gina. You were just arguing with Inspector Gregson about it, weren't you? I assumed you'd been up to your usual tricks here at the showground.
That ain't no way to talk to a lady, Otto. Half a year's a long time. People can change. I'm an apprentice now, learning to be a Scotland Yard detective. So you'll have to call me what everyone else does. And Inspector Lestrade now?
Inspector! That badge is homemade, surely.
The inspector part isn't entirely accurate. No one calls that. For what it's worth, anyway. Investigating's off the cards for all of us.
What's that supposed to mean?
Right, well, I'll be back up top. You hold the phone down here, alright?
Right, sir. Gina's working for him? Gino works for Gregson. I love it. This raises a lot of questions. Yeah, answer my questions. Gregson's a father. It was 8 months ago now that I first encountered Gina in connection with a case I was working on. At the time, she was living in East End with a group of other orphans. She helped all of them survive by pickpocketing, but then she got embroiled in a murder. Surprise adoption. I can see Gregson just being like, surprise!
Jazz hands!
I had a lot of time to think of prison. I realized I couldn't go on like I was. Done weren't working out. Oh, I'm so pleased to hear it, Ginny. Well done.
So, you went from being a pickpocket to a detective?
You got it. Good, ain't it? Inspector Lestrade. Sounds like something out of a book, eh?
Talk about a sea change.
Then there's Iris's old man to think about.
Iris's father, you mean?
Yeah, I promised her, didn't I? Say I get all the police forces around the world to pull out and stop looking for him.
Just a small promise then. Nothing serious. He's dead, by the way. That's the name of the Holmes character. Yeah. Inspector Lestrade.
Oh, Ginny, you're so sweet.
So anyway, that's all I'll come out and go to... The fuck? What is this line? So anyway, that's all come out. I'll go at the test for Scotland Yard. Oh, trouble is, I don't read so well, do I? Just a small problem. Nothing serious.
And that's when Early approached Gregsy and asked for help. So the inspector said he'd take full responsibility for Ginny and made her a sort of apprentice.
That was very magnanimous of Inspector Gregson, and brave.
Well, you know Early, he enjoys finding ways to make people do what he wants.
The great detective likes digging for dirt, in other words.
So, the long and short of it is, if you got questions about the case, you can ask Inspector Lestrade.
Right then, Inspector. Actually, there's still a big mystery surrounding Gina, isn't there?
Ooh, what, Runo, what?
Well, 6 months ago, Gina was the defendant in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper. A trial in which she was found not guilty, and yet here she is, still.
Come on, you don't still on about that, are you? The Legend of the Reaper, whatever it's called? God, you don't have worry, Otto.
If I didn't half worry, there probably wouldn't be a whole lot of you left.
It's like I told you before, eh? The Reaper's kinda like him upstairs, so he knows what I'm like on the inside. Really ain't nothing wrong.
Jesus Christ, half your words are so hard to read. Nothing wrong might be stretching a point.
What about Mr. Natsume in Japan? He's perfectly fine, isn't he?
Well, that's true. Perhaps the Reaper is more discerning than I thought.
Exactly, so I ain't worried. I'm totally fine.
Oh, Gina dies next case, calling it.
Corey, it was out on this world, it was. The Brunny bloke pulled out a bunch of levers on his machine and suddenly he saw a bill and smoke. Then he just went pop. I ain't seen a better experiment yet.
Sorry?
You mean, you saw it, Ginny? With your own eyes? Yeah, of course. The boss is in charge here, ain't he? Oh, keeping everything running smooth, I mean.
The boss being Inspector Gregson, I suppose. That's gonna take some getting used to.
So all I have to say is that I'm on duty, and I can do whatever I want to. Get this, I was up in one of them flying balloons when it happened, watching it from above. No, you're so lucky, Ginny. Maybe I should join Scotland Yard too.
Yeah, do it. You know how to put the boss in his place already, right, Iris? You have no trouble at all.
Then it's settled. When do I start?
No, you can't join Scotland Yard, Iris.
We'll see. Anyway, what I don't understand is this. If the machine exploded so spectacularly, how can Professor Bunnybrain still be claiming that his experiment was a success?
Oh, right, well, it was a success in a way. It was? How can it have been a success in a way? Surely after the whole machine blew up, no one could call the experiment a success.
It's like I said, it did sort of work. I mean, yeah, there was a load of smoke and that whopping great bang. But where'd you think they found the victim's body, eh? In the crystal tower over there.
What? That's not... Literally, that's impossible. That's impossible, though. Teleportation doesn't exist in the 1900s or in the 20,000s.
You see for yourself, can't you? Up there above the scaffold.
Oh, where the glass is broken, you mean?
Yeah, cage what the victim got to start with. Really did get beamed through the air or whatever and landed all the way over there. So, you see, it did kind of work, didn't it?
What? I don't believe it.
I mean, I don't get the ins and outs of it, but everything's possible, right? With science.
No! That's not how science works.
Oh, I'll tell you what, you can have this. It's a plan of the experiment they drew up at the yard.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go on. I have 3 bob off you before, so fair's fair.
Yes, I didn't actually give that to you, did I? The sketch of the experiment's been entered in the court record. Alright, let's take a quick look at that, actually. What's going on here? Okay. So I guess... the body was found here? Oh, wait, is there? Okay. Oh, that's just balloons. Alright. So Inspector Gregson said before seemed a little strange.
For what it's worth, anyway. Well, investigating is off the cards for all of us.
Yes, naughty old Greggs, he ran off after that without explaining himself.
Oh, right, that. The boss said no one's allowed to investigate that weird machine what blew up yesterday.
Well, that's not fair. We're representing the defendant.
In that case, could you at least tell us what you've learned from your investigations?
Nah, you're not getting it. We ain't allowed to investigate neither.
Why?
What did the boss call them again? The forensic investigation team, I think? Anyway, apart from them lot, no one's allowed to lay a finger on the scene. A bit funny, isn't it?
So even Scotland Yard's own detective can't investigate. Yes, I've never heard of something like that before.
I thought I'd have a gander on the quiet there, but boss caught me at it. You probably heard him giving me an earful about it before from down here, didn't you? It's not bleeding fair.
I think you were giving him as much of an earful back as I remember it.
Yeah, well, sometimes I think it's all them chips what make him so stubborn. You say something for him, Otto. Go on, see if you can get through him.
He's up on the platform above us, is he? Where the machine that exploded is.
We can try, can't we, Runo? Craigsy will listen to us.
He'll listen to you. No, we're at the experimentation stage. Can I go up? Oh wait, what the fuck is this? Hold up.
Ah, it looks as though somebody dropped something behind the tree just here.
Dropped or hid? What is this? Some part of the machine that exploded?
Maybe it could have fallen from the platform above in a blast, perhaps.
What's going on here? Oh, nothing. I think I'll hang on to this just in case. Mysterious contraption has been entered into the court record. For some reason, the ground is damaged in this spot. Look. Almost as if there was a fire here or something.
Yes, if you look closely, there's some scattered ash and burnt embers, too.
Well, I suppose there was a big explosion just above here. People probably wouldn't bat an eyelid at a small fire like this, would have been.
I'm not sure we English are quite that laid back, Runo.
I wanted to look at the flag. Crystal Tower. It's certainly an apt name. It was built to be the focal point of the exhibition. And it definitely is, being so tall with all that glass. Did the Russian guy ever get to explode it? Maybe the Russian guy exploded it. Maybe it was him. Can't imagine a building like this ever being erected in Japan.
There are lots of exhibits inside the tower as well, apparently. Of course, there's an observation deck, but there's also an art gallery, a zoo, and a museum. You have to queue for 3 hours just to get through the doors.
Well, at the moment, the shattered glass from the failed experiment may well be the biggest draw.
And thanks to that accident, the whole tower is shut.
Suddenly it's not the Crystal Tower anymore, but the Crystal Glass Shower.
Apparently everyone's taken to the skies now to look on the disaster area from above instead. But there's a 3-hour queue to go up in a balloon now.
Londoners must be very patient people. What else we got? What is this?
Oh, look, what's this? A ripped piece of cloth?
It's not like any fabric I've ever seen before. It's very thick and stiff. It looks extremely durable.
It's canvas, I think, with some sort of rubber back. And the edges appear to be a bit charred as well.
Maybe that means it had something to do with the explosion.
Let's make a note of it while Guinea's been yawn.
Anything else? These stairs obviously lead to the stage above. We should go up there and investigate the exact spot where the experiment was being conducted. So that's it. Is it the machine that blew up?
Oh, it must have been a magnificent explosion, and I've seen my fair share.
You've seen things like this before, you mean?
Of course, Early's always doing experiments that end in a bang. In fact, in his own words, explosions are the very essence of chemistry.
That might explain the smell of burning that frequently comes wafting up the stairs.
One time he made something that exploded with such force, it took the roof off the building. I wish you'd been there to see it, Runo.
Well, that would have killed me. I live on the roof. It's hard to get too excited about that, given that I now live in the roof.
Well, anyway, that's enough about that. It's time to investigate.
Ah, look, Inspector Gregson's over there. He seems to be deep in thought about something, while eyeing up the machine carefully.
Really, he just looks confused to me.
Ripped itself apart magnificently, didn't it?
Magnificently and mercilessly.
So someone stands in the middle of the machine to be disassembled and then beamed through the air.
Yes, beamed. Not blasted. That's the point.
Yes, that part's crucial, really. Something like that even possible, though, Iris?
Oh, Runo, I'm just a child. How should I know?
A child when it suits you, you mean?
From what I can tell, I think if you were to pull this lever here...
Stop! Don't touch that!
Ahaha, that was practically instantaneous kinesis to the way you flew over just now, Gregsy.
Please, your ladyship, I didn't mean to startle you, but I can't let you touch anything up here.
So sorry. You can have some of my latest special blend to make up for it.
Yeah. Ah, wonderful. This stuff really is wonderful.
It's just like old times, this is. We're representing Professor Harebrained in court tomorrow, Inspector, so we should be allowed to examine the scene.
Listen, Sunshine, even I'm not allowed to touch anything up here. Stop blasting special dispensation for scientific work and act to blame. It's driving me potty!
Oh yes, that special dispensation. The professor mentioned that too.
More red tape's all we need. I don't know what the government thinks is playing out sometimes.
But we're allowed to just look, aren't we?
Yeah.
Surely that's all right, isn't it, Gregsy?
Of course, your ladyship. Anything you say, your ladyship, but please don't get your dainty hands dirty, will you?
Don't worry. We wouldn't dream of touching anything, would we, Runo?
She really knows how to get what she wants. Alright, I want to talk to you, though. Using high voltage electricity to somehow disassemble a man's body. Why have I been pinged? I got pinged in memes. Oh, okay. It's an extraordinary thing to attempt, especially in public.
True, it was by far the most unusual of the experiments planned for the exhibition mind. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised it was allowed.
Oh, to be honest, I was carrying out something so dangerous to so many perspectives present, I mean.
Government's doing everything it can to promote new science and technology at the moment. They're more worried about being ahead of the game than they are to spot public safety infringements. If they can be the first to develop some new technology, it makes Britain more powerful in the future, you see.
I suppose that's true in a way.
So the powers that be are placing heavy emphasis on scientists' rights at the moment.
What sort of rights?
The right to murder. Any theories the brains have remain their legal property, as it were. I believe they call it an IP. Why, they're going into development into a practical idea and even going into production, which is infuriating as an us coppers aren't allowed to touch this crime scene. Because this new highfalutin special dispensation for scientific equipment now forbids it.
I see now.
The only people with permission to investigate here are from some brand new department at the yard. The Forensic Investigation Team is called. We've been relegated to keeping guard.
Forensic Investigation Team.
Any old fool considers him a scrap metal was a sham to begin with. But just because he says scientific equipment on our paperwork, we can't do a flaming thing about it.
Poor Gregsy. He's very het up, isn't he?
I don't know, I think he's kind of gay. I think he's kind of down gay instead of head up. Remind me again. What's this new legal act that we're not allowed to touch the scene here?
I haven't any sunshine. It's a special dispensation for the Scientific Equipment Act. Don't make me say it again.
Yes, I think I only mentioned that recently. With a real twinkle in his eyes, I remember.
I'm sure he did, your ladyship. I'm sure he did. Passed especially for this great exhibition it was. All scientists have to do is present their ideas and inventions to some suits in the civil service, and it gets rubber stamped as a guarantee of rights to maintain the invention's confidentiality.
What does that really mean? Tell me how you really feel, Gregson.
Think about it. Think of all the world-changing new inventions on display every day at this exhibition. Although a good half of them are unloaded cobblers, if you ask me. Put forward by shammers like yourself.
Hey, fuck you! Thanks for that!
Oh, I love how absurd some of the inventions here are. It's all so fun.
Might be fun for you, but a member of the force has to be present at every single demonstration. Can you imagine, eh? I ain't science, that's what I say.
No, I don't think so. That sounds like my dream job.
You'd soon think otherwise after spending a day guarding all these shammers' bogus contraptions.
But if they're all bogus, how can anyone hope to demonstrate them? There'd be no point.
Yeah, well, there is a point, sadly.
Sorry?
Thanks to another one of our government's bright ideas. If any theory or invention is deemed to show potential, the government adds out a research grant.
The scientists get funding?
Exactly. That's what they're all after. All these shammers come far wide to clog up Hyde Park. And who has to keep them safe, eh? Who has to smile politely and welcome them? Us coppers, that's who. So you can see why I say it now, can't ya? Hang science! Hang it!
Oh, maybe I can see your point.
Apparently Professor Harebrine lives and works in Germany now conducting his research.
That's right, coming back to Britain especially for the great exhibition, as I understand it. Probably for one of the government's research grants.
Actually, we learned something else about the professor earlier today. About his time in further education, it turns out he was at university with someone we both know, Lord Van Zeeks.
Hey, what's that? That's news to me!
But
Lord Van Zeeks managed prosecution, as he accused the professor's fetus.
sealed? Because the Reaper will get him one day, one way or another?
Blimey, that must be on me. I don't know what goes on to the head of his. Talking to Van Zeeks, this morning's paper ran a story of him being attacked. Read that?
Oh, yes, but Mr. Reaper is completely fine. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, that's right. Glad to hear it. We're still the Reaper. Yeah, how long's that business gonna keep up, I wonder?
Victim of this case, the investor, Mr. Asman. He was another Reaper's victims, or so I heard.
Lord Bernvac is a top-class prosecutor. But even he can't always push the right verdict through. Sometimes justice can't win.
Yeah, I've heard about jurors being bribed and evidence being falsified. And that's how the notion of the Reaper of the Bailey came about, isn't it?
Obviously, Scotland Yard suspected Van Zieks initially. We all assumed he was taking matters in his own hands as he failed to see the deal in court.
Well, the man himself denies that charge.
Well, we've done a very thorough investigation, and the conclusion we reached is that old Van Zieks is in no way related to the deaths of those people outside the courtroom. There's no question in my mind. I'd stake my reputation on it, I would.
But if that's true, then how do you explain it? All those defendants couldn't have just coincidentally died if nobody killed them.
I know that, but I can't explain it. It's a mystery after all, isn't it? That's the whole point of the Reaper.
Professor Harebrain mentioned something else. He said that at university, Lord Van Zieks is a totally different person, easygoing and kind.
You what?
He said that it was after they both graduated that something happened to change the man. Do you have any idea what it was?
No clue.
Really?
Look, I got my hands full watching all this frustrating crime scene. Why don't you go and make a nuisance of yourselves elsewhere?
Alright, I'm gonna do some snooping around here, actually, if you don't mind. Considering how badly damaged everything is, Professor Harebrain was lucky to escape unscathed, I'd say. Should have a good look around the machine while we can, I think.
Don't try to dig I'll make sure I kill you before I get strung up myself, yeah?
I won't touch a thing, I promise. So please, spare a thought for your digestion. Anyway, do you really think this machine could actually disassemble people like the professor claims?
Yes, looking totally incredulous. Give it a rest, sunshine. If we were allowed to examine all this bleeding scrap metal, maybe we could answer that question. But we can't, can we?
Because of the annoying rules, you mean?
Exactly! The annoying obstructive flaming rules!
Oh, look at the base of the machine there.
Oh yes, there's a tool of some kind poking through the wire mesh.
It's a screwdriver, I think?
Oh, isn't it a lovely one? The handle is in the shape of a capital letter A.
It is? Oh yes, probably for Asman.
What's the matter with you? Don't touch anything I said! Touch anything I'll make sure I kill you before I get strung up myself, I said!
Yes, I understand, sorry. If only I only touched a teeny weeny bit.
But Gregsy, I'm very curious about the screwdriver. Really very, very curious.
Oh shit, immovable object meets an unstoppable force here. What does he do?
Of course, your ladyship. You're so clever, your ladyship. Fancy spotting something like this. Well, I'm afraid I can't let you have it.
But Bruno found it first.
I assure you, I'll investigate it thoroughly.
He's gone off with it.
That was very mean. I'm afraid Inspector Gregson is going to make a very clumsy and embarrassing mistake in next month's installment now.
Oh shit! No! Poor Gregsy! Oh no, you hate to see it. What is that gigantic thing over there? It looks like an enormous water wheel.
Oh, that's a Ferris wheel. There'll be people riding inside those little cabins you can see.
Why?
Well, they rotate nice and slowly, so it's a wonderful way to see the surrounding scenery.
Wait, it's turning, but it looks completely still.
Yes, that's because it's turning so slowly. One complete revolution takes about half an hour.
If you were mad enough to go in one, it would be more fun to whiz around fast, don't you think?
I feel as though you might have just invented a new sort of ride there, Runo.
That amazing horn-shaped device is pointing towards the crystal tower. I suppose once people are disassembled by the machine, a shot at that thing to wherever they're going.
I don't think it was supposed to shoot anything, Runo. It was set up to beam people to the crystal tower where they'd be reconstructed in their original form.
Well, I don't like the look of it. It was as amazing as it looks, that accident wouldn't have happened in the first place, of course.
Suppose that's true, yes.
But nothing ever goes according to plan, does it? You know, it just occurred to me. That we don't have a Japanese man on trial this time. So now, who's the fucking jury gonna? How's the jury gonna do their racism this time? People on carrying balloons, dangling silently in the clouds over London. I always thought the day would come when humans would discover how to fly. Oh, German, you right. I never imagined it would involve him being suspended from cult. But he's... yeah, by association.
I'm sure it must feel amazing being up there among the clouds. Let's take a ride together, Runo, please.
If I'm being perfectly honest, I would like to try it. Without a cast iron guarantee that the thing won't plummet to the ground, I'm too scared.
Oh, well, in that case, I should tell you what Early said. It's physically impossible for a flying balloon to plummet to the ground, as long as it doesn't explode.
Yeah, call me crazy, but I think that exploding part might play on my mind a little. Do we have anything interesting here? No. Okay. Anything else? Got a Kremlin. All sorts of strange buildings here in the Great Exhibition Grounds, aren't there? I seem to remember something similar being exhibited in Japan one time.
Oh, in your country, Runo? I do wish I could go see it. I present particularly steely samurai with a present of one of Early's stories I'd written especially. And see if I couldn't get Early into a jam against some Bartitsu master ninjas.
You might not find as many of those sorts of people around as you think.
Oh, well, that's dull.
Oh, but I do know a prosecutor with a Chomake top knot that I could introduce you to. Not anymore!
A Chonmog? Really? Do you think I could have my picture taken with him, do you?
Assuming he's recovered from the trim Kazuma gave him a year ago, yes. Oh, he has not. Are we done here? I guess we could look in the court record at our shit. No, there's some sort of lever here. It's a crossbow. Oh my lord. Full-on crossbow. It looks like a cross between a bow and a gun. A crossbow, one might say. It's probably used for the same thing, too. Looks like layers of thick canvas with a thick rubber lining of sorts. I've never seen anything like it before, but applying Mr. Sholmes' methods, you might deduce it as part of a raincoat worn by someone who really, really didn't want to get wet. And the charring must have occurred when the person was struck by lightning. That does sound like a Sholmes deduction, actually. No, you're probably 100% right on that. Is that it? Nothing. Okay. I suppose we can try going back down. Oh, hey, you're still here? Maybe I present you with something. As a detective, what do you make of this?
Personally speaking, 9 times out of 10 I find clues turn out to be red herrings. There's a chance that's totally irrelevant.
That's actually a fairly persuasive argument. Inspector, have you read this paper?
Yeah, 2 unwelcome blasts back to back. This one, the exhibition, and the Reaper getting attacked.
I know, terrible news to wake up to, wasn't it?
I tried pretending I hadn't read it and turned over for another 40 winks. Thanks to that, I was laid up and got a roasting from the supper. Super.
From the supper? Some mornings are like that, aren't they? Alright, I guess we'll move on out. Can I go downstairs again, or? I feel like we're done here. Hey, Benzikis, what up? Are we missing something? No? Nothing? What to do?
I'm so excited about the prospect of Naruhodo's anything consultancy opening up for business again.
That's not what it's called. It's Naruhodo's legal consultancy. Done a lot of studying in these past 6 months, reading law texts and judicial precedents. I'm sure I'm a better lawyer now. I can't wait to start practicing again.
Nothing's changed in here at all, though, has it? It's as though time has stood still in here since Susie went back to Japan.
I wanted to keep it ready for Miss Susato in case she was able to return to Britain at any point. So just left everything the way it was.
Oh, I see. Right. And there was me thinking it's because of the way you are, Runo. You know, never bothering to tidy up, I mean.
Iris, this isn't the time or the place to bring up my tidiness. Or lack of it. Okay, well that's not very helpful. Okay, we must be missing something at the crime scene. Gina, would you take a look at... Oh, where did it go? Looking for this auto? Okay. How the fuck did she pickpocket a crossbow off me? Are we missing anything? You stole back the picture you gave me? Come on. Don't be like that. Okay, so there's nothing. Okay, we took a look at the flames. So it must be some examination thing. Did those dudes. Can I go up in the crystal tower? Oh wait, we never explored the literal thing. That's where the cove ended up after the instant kinesis or whatever you call it. Did, of course. And that they're calling the experiment a success?
What's the wooden scaffold there for?
Coppers, all lads. Set that up after the incident happened. To get the body down, I think. Dunno, really? Didn't you help erect the scaffold then? Nah, lookout duty's more my thing. Walking around the exhibition and keeping a lookout for fun stuff. Mind Gregson doesn't hear you saying that, or he'll give you the boot. It's it's incredible though, isn't it? I mean, could the victim really have bridged that gap with some sort of invisible kinesis? No.
Runo, listen!
What is it?
I've been thinking. Early might know something, mightn't he?
About what?
About how soap tastes.
About what happened to Lord Van Zeeks, you mean? Because it sounded like something very significant occurred after he graduated from university. Something that completely changed his life. Maybe, but I have no idea where to find Mr. Shums at the moment. He's in the middle of some big case, isn't he?
Here, this is what you need.
What's this? Some kind of entrance ticket?
Madame Tuspels.
Tuspels? Is this supposed to do something to me?
You don't know it. It's the most popular attraction in London at the moment. It's very close to Baker Street, actually. We could go now if you like.
No, we don't have time for visiting attractions today, Iris. We have a big trial tomorrow.
But that's where Hurley is.
What? At this popular London attraction?
Yes.
How is it that you know where he is?
Hurley's told me, but he told me to keep it a secret from you, Runo.
Madame Tuspels. I don't see how it could be related to the case we're investigating here. But then, stranger things have happened. And when they happen, Mr. Shums is usually at the heart of them. Alright, I'll be on my way. What is this place? Look at these terrifying scenes, but why are all the people so still? Guillotines, ruthless murderers. I don't know what I'll be dreaming about tonight.
They're all wax models. They're amazingly realistic, aren't they? What do you think, Runo? Shocked?
Wax models! Ah!
I read about dead bodies and wax once in a magazine about strange phenomena. Depending on how many corpses are kept after death, parts of them can turn to wax, apparently. It's called adipocare.
Stop talking about creepy things like that, Runo. You're scaring me. Anyway, on adipocare. Ah!
I can't read that word.
What now?
I've just remembered something else I read in another magazine about strange phenomena. There was an old lady, maybe a witch, who used to pour molten wax over corpses and put them on display.
None of the exhibits in here are real. They're all entirely man-made replicas.
It can't be. Do you really expect me to believe that? Just look at them.
Oh. There's no way anyone can make models of people that are this realist.
Chat. All such gruesome scenes. God damn it. Motherfucker. What is it? Oh, no. I must be seeing things. Hey, what? Wait, hold up. What the? We'll get to that in a second, but what the fuck is this? Is this an arm?
It looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of the waxwork models has fallen over.
You don't think it could be the work of one of the mass murderers in here, do you?
Runo, stop scaring me.
Is it a wax arm or a real one?
Come on, you're always pointing that finger of yours in court. Poke that arm now and see how it feels.
Objection! It's the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes has his own wax statue in here? Really?
Well, he is world famous after all.
It's an uncanny resemblance, isn't it? It makes my skin crawl to look at it.
I know.
Because he's so ugly.
Look, Runo, you can kick this Hurley and it doesn't move a muscle.
Just moved, I'm sure. Not a little bit either. Let's kick it again. Let's kick it again. Really? Did it? And look closely. There are beads of sweat on the face of this waxwork model. Shall we move on, Iris? Over there, look, there's a great murder scene to enjoy. Much more appealing. My dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner, as if you've seen something truly abhorrent. Mr. Sholmes, I knew it. Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruhodo. Temporary waxwork? What do you mean? And that kick! Could you not have exercised a little more restraint? You winded me!
But Runo has something he needs to ask you.
A question?
And I thought you'd probably be getting bored, too. So here we are.
Well, I can't deny that your timing was impeccable. A mere 2 minutes more being stationary like that, and my great brain, upon which all my success has been built, would have turned to wax.
Thank goodness we arrived in time.
Indeed, in many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from an unimaginable loss.
Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you?
He could know something, it's true. About Lord Van Zeeks and what happened in the past to change him.
Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? For you're in luck. I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing.
Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry.
And if my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. Most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that it is related to the matter about which you've come to me now.
But how could it be?
We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow. But for now, I must return to my work.
What, back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? What is this place?
Madame Tuspels came to London from France 3 years ago, I understand. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed great popularity in London. There are museums like this in Japan, too.
There are museums like this in Japan too, but these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't made from actual real people, are they?
The extreme realism of these waxwork models is a particular secret of the Tuspels family, they say. They earned renown during the French Revolution for the waxworks of victims of the guillotine.
That sounds grim.
The gruesome scenes were portrayed with such realism in the expressions of the faces of the condemned.
Apparently, the sculptor would make the models directly from the corpses right there at the site on the executions.
That really turns my stomach.
That's just one of several legends about the Tuspels family. Whether there's any truth to it, I couldn't say. But anyway, this museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum by quite some margin is this House of Horrors.
House of Horrors?
Of course, visitor numbers are dwindling now as a result of the Great Exhibition, but people usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows, so they're even stiffer now than the models of them.
Have you heard of poor taste?
My dear fellow, the public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked.
He's not wrong. So the hideous exhibits in here are...
They're all portrayals of real events that actually took place.
Is it just me, or did the temperature in here just seem to drop?
Anyway, I advise you not to think too deeply about what you see here.
Oh, he's back to being a waxwork, is he? What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes?
Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act.
Catching them?
Every half an hour, I home in on a different killer in one of those plays and adopt a new pose to ensnare him. When members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them my hand to shake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us.
Us? Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in here? But why, Mr. Sholmes?
I am running out of money, my dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money! We're shit broke, man!
He really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors.
As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent, and I have the ravenous iris to consider.
Oh, Hurley, I'm so hungry.
If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Naruhodo.
What's he threatening to roll me into now?
So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours.
Maybe some other time.
Remember, Mr. Naruhodo, ignore me at your peril.
Back to being waxwork again. Is it just me, or did his final remark there sound a lot like a curse?
Well, what is it you'd like to ask me then?
Actually, it's about Lord Van Zeeks.
Ah, our friend Mr. Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust.
Sholmes would pimp Naruhodo to feed Ira for sure. And so I filled Sholmes in about everything I'd learned. About Lord Van Zeeks, about Professor Hairbrain, and about this strange coincidence that they had been at the university together. So I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Van Zeek such a different person.
I was sure that you'd know, Hurley.
You said there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before, that something was afoot, and that you believed it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. Mr. Sholmes, you suddenly clammed up.
Well, it would seem we've reached the unavoidable...
Greetings.
Oh, hello? Oh, hello. Where did she appear from? And what's she wearing? Could she look any more mysterious? Hello there.
I hope you are appreciating my museum.
Sorry, have we? Mr. Sholmes, do you know this? Not again. Kind of a cutie, not gonna lie.
My apologies, I'm Esmeralda to Spells. This is my museum of waxwork.
What? You're the Madame to Spells?
Bien sûr. Although only 26 years young, I might add.
Is that significant somehow?
I'm a madame in name only. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi.
Right.
Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather, one waxwork in particular.
That'll be Mr. Sholmes then.
She's single. Let's go.
I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble.
I love her. I love her. She's so good. She sounds deadly serious. That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord Van Zeeks now?
Let's not forget what Hurley said before, about something being afoot. Right here in the museum, I mean.
Yeah, I know, but...
I'm so curious, I want to know what's happening here.
Haven't we got enough on our plate already? Did you make all these waxwork, Madame Dispels?
I did. I am the third generation of waxwork artisans, you know. Gosh! It was my grandmother who began the tradition in my family. Her fortunes were checkered living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. Though that is when she acquired the savoir-faire that leads to the astonishing lifelikeness. All these waxworks really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than early. Hehe. What you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks were created in the presence of the real people on which they are modelled, in the hours immediately following their executions. That is the secret to the extraordinary lifelikeness.
That sounds terrifying.
All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths.
Kinda kinky.
My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see.
Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying?
Do not fear.
Sorry?
This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you'll explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians, something for every taste, I hope.
And do you make all of those looking at their corpse as well? In that case, I guess you can't have Elvis in here because, you know, he's not dead. Cyrus, who dragged me straight in here, come to think of it. Also because he's not alive yet.
Sorry, perhaps I should have eased you in things.
What's the situation with that?
Ah, my temporary waxwork model. He approached me some days ago, you see, with a business proposal.
Oh, what sort of proposal?
My dear madam, what these sparse exhibits need is the addition of the world-famous great detective.
Oh, words to that effect. Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Sholmes is widely known in London as a talented detective.
It's great detective, actually. He's very specific about it.
Yes, the creme de la creme. So I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms.
Let me guess. Someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services?
For a mere £500, I will dive into your cauldron of wax this very moment.
Hey, buddy! The fuck?
Oh, words to that effect.
Mr. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch.
Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. So we came to the current arrangement instead.
Surely he doesn't really need to do what he's doing, though, does he?
I would think not, but he was very insistent.
I have a 50-shilling problem that must be resolved by the morning.
Oh, words to that effect. It's the pawnbroker, that's what it is. He must have something to redeem.
Is the consulting detective work not going so well? I wonder, could I ask you something? Bonsoir. I'm just curious, is anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps?
Whoever suggested such a thing to you?
Oh, well, it was your temporary waxwork over there who mentioned it to me a little... Oh, he's disappeared.
A wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry object for trade.
Ah. Oh, hello. There you are.
Leaving the use of it again when you should be working? Do you wish to be melted down?
My dear Madame Tuspel, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. The wax can wait. It's our ideas about your current problem that we must throw into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police.
Why ever not?
She's turned as white as a sheet.
Because you have at your disposal a great detective whose services you may employ for a mere 50 shillings. Though please be aware that I prefer, no, I insist upon payment in advance.
Very well.
Why did you agree to this?
Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we?
Before I engage my analytical prowess, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind the curtain?
That is the Tuspel special exhibit. There is an extra charge to see it.
Ah, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. Must have picked a special killer then, I presume. Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder?
Absolutely not. There's nothing amiss behind there.
Nothing amiss, madame. What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain? I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond before the situation worsens.
Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only a second.
I must confess I peeked behind the curtain earlier. The Tuspel special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. Yet somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer one would expect is nowhere to be seen. What does strike one, however, is the portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor.
Isn't that one of the jurors? Well, then perhaps, Mr. Sholmes, that man on the floor is the ruthless killer himself.
I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman, not even a waxwork, in fact.
What?
As skillfully made as these waxworks are, they are always distinguishable from real humans. So allow me to present my two conclusions. The first is that a sizable business transaction had been taking place in the special exhibit.
Why would you say that?
And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime.
Aha!
She looks as pale as candle wax.
I don't understand.
So, Madame Tuspel, as you've agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work.
It's time for the great deduction. The game is afoot.
Damn, she do be cute, though. Not even gonna lie.
To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some £200.
That is all my own money.
So what does this large sum of money reveal? Ah, not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame Tuspel. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the £200 is revealed by that public notice. Waxwork for sale. Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for the sum of £200.
No!
Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Ah. Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds. It would appear that you twisted this gentleman around your little finger most effectively.
What are you suggesting?
He rashly agreed to purchase the waxwork for the sum of 200 pounds. Only when he came to hand the money over did it occur to him what an extraordinary amount he was paying. But the money was no longer in his hands. And the result, the scene we see before us. He collapsed in shock. Yes, the killer in his special exhibit fetched a killer price. We can only pray the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret.
Sold for cash. Waxwork State, sold for cash. Waxwork location.
The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment.
You cannot possibly...
What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief. Such as worn by policemen as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman, currently investigating this museum. I know him well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay.
What are you talking about?
The man's quite a celebrity. He received a triple accolades at last year's policing awards.
But...
Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely and he hasn't moved a muscle, almost in fact, as if he were a waxwork.
But you...
Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe! The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. Threepence, a tragically low price, you might say. Though perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks. And yet you sold it to the poorly gentleman for an exorbitant 200 pounds. The sort of plucky behaviour that's sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madam?
Sholmes thinks he can... My prediction here is that Sholmes thinks he can identify waxworks versus people, but literally that one is a waxwork, and the one sitting down is an actual person, and he just fucking flipped it like a dipshit.
Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by the police and remains in their custody as we speak. The old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit, and not a moment too soon.
Waxwork location conclusion discovered already. Good job, Sholmes.
Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle.
Yeah, so about that. She got the pot out. I love her. Step on me, mommy.
I see, I've stunned you all into silence.
You have, Hurley, you have. And you've obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot.
If I could just bring up 1 point, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, the notorious Naruhodo, 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow.
According to your deduction, then, the special exhibit featuring this old policeman, so that would mean that he's the particularly ruthless murderer, wouldn't it?
The killer policeman, Ottomo.
Sorry?
It was a mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the aether.
And it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Ottomo.
So you mean that's the whole sinister... That's who the sinister-looking old man there is supposed to be?
Indeed, it is a particularly grim face, is it not? Unforgettable, in fact. Yes, I remember that odious countenance only too well.
But is 200 pounds a lot of money for a wax model?
It would be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages, if that puts things in perspective.
So it is quite a lot then.
Is there anything else you wish to add? Before I melt you down.
That bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous.
The smell of all that molten wax is starting to worry me.
Mr. Sholmes did more or less just accuse her to her face, so I think I might have to call on your assistance here, Iris, if that's alright, to make some minor corrections to the Great Detective's great deductions.
Of course it's alright. We'll soon set things straight.
Well, let's get started then, shall we? Before Madame Dispels vents her anger.
Just what I was waiting to hear, my dear fellow. So, Madame Dispels, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work.
Hold it, Mr. Sholmes!
To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your back. By my estimation, some £200.
That is all my money.
So, what does this large sum of money reveal? Not as much the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame Dispels. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the £200 is revealed by that public notice.
Oh, maybe not. She definitely looked in this direction, it's true. But I'm not sure she'd sell any of her waxworks even for £200. Oh?
She must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax. If it were me, I wouldn't sell them for anything.
For that much money, I would. But it sounds like that makes me a bad person. Well, anyway. I wonder if the £200 could have some other significance.
Let's follow that furtive glance again. See if there's anything else that could explain it.
The fuck is this? What's that note doing pinned on the wall there? Oh yes, let's see. Dear Madame Dispels, we've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is £200. Have the money ready by noon on 23rd October. What? This is just the sort of thing that's left behind when someone's kidnapped.
Yes, it's a ransom note.
Exactly.
Take that!
The significance of the £200 is revealed by that ransom note. Okay. Calling it now. He was found dead on the Crystal Ascension, and obviously he can't be teleported. What they put into the machine was a wax figure of the dude. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's him. Maybe he's the guy. No, that wouldn't make sense because he's not dead. I feel like the fact that we're doing all this wax figure stuff and there's like two versions of the body and obviously he wasn't teleported means that the one that got blown up was a wax figure of the guy. I feel like that's what we're going for.
Quite so, and we must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness abducting a waxwork. Huh. £200 is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay it.
The model in question has special importance, so I put together all the money I have.
In summary then, £200 you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented.
She assumed he would be the guy coming to collect the money, and she knocked him out, even though he wasn't. Yeah, no, you can make wax figures out of living people. So I'm saying, but I was thinking the wax figure that was stolen from here was of that guy. But I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure that the wax figures in here are of dead people. Obviously, you can make wax figures of living people, yes.
It appears the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Ah. Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the £200.
So if the waxwork was kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of this whole who man is? We could ask that's when he comes around. I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of the deduction process, Iris.
Yes, you're right. At least trying so hard, we mustn't let him down.
Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock. That seems clear. But in that case, what's Madame Tuspel's trying to hide?
Let's have a closer look.
Let's just get all up in her robe, all up under her dress. Let's do that. Hand of Madame.
This is just Madame Tuspel's right hand, isn't it?
Yes, it must be. I can clearly see her left hand after all.
Oh, but wait a minute. This is a left hand as well, look.
Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please.
And it seems very stiff, too. In fact, it's really hard.
You mean you're touching it right now? It's made of wax?
Take that!
What dealt the man such a shocking blow was of
course the waxwork hand.
Indeed. What a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a very substantial blow.
How could you?
The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a right hand, but closer inspection reveals that in fact it's a left hand.
Ah! And somewhat masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madame. It is the hand of a waxwork model.
Yeah! Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome. They meddle with the exhibits and cause damage.
So you mean that arm?
Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir.
No small keepsake.
This is very good. Maybe thumbnail material there. Like taking a whole branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms.
I'm afraid I had to teach the man a lesson.
You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back.
And the result? A scene we see before us. He was not unconscious. A point we may need to revisit later, but for the time being, we have a conclusion. Yes, the killer is in the special exhibit has been kidnapped. The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment.
You cannot possibly...
What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only to observe his neckerchief.
According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is assigned to other policemen that some crime is underway.
He's communicating with his colleagues without revealing his identity, yes. It's a secret that's closely guided by Scotland Yard.
That Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away.
Well, uncovering secrets is any true detective's nature, of course.
Right. Anyway, judging from Madame Tuspel's reaction to Mr. Sholmes' reduction, I think perhaps we might not have identified the man quite correctly. Oh, it's his arm. It do be his arm, though. What the? Man's stub is sticking out of his shoulder where his arm should be.
Ah, well, that settles that then.
Right, this isn't a real person at all. His entire arm's been ripped off from the shoulder down. His arm's been... Of course, that ties in with what we just found out. Man, Sholmes really do be saying this guy's a fucking real-ass man. Man doesn't even have an arm. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his shoulder stub.
No such boneless human walks this earth. Of that I can assure you.
Well, until Stormy gets her hands on them, and then
all those bones come right on out.
In other words,
The man standing here, the young Surgeon John Clay, is in fact, defying all odds, a waxwork model.
I seem to remember it was you who concluded he was a real person from the first place, Mr. Sholmes. Fucking Sholmes, idiot.
He's become quite a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 policing awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man.
Naturally, what other explanation could there be?
And it was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man on the floor in the special exhibit, wasn't it? Who the fuck would even want to take home a wax model arm as a souvenir? What? What? It's like, hey, look, I got the arm of the policeman. What the fuck is wrong with you? Is that what you show your grandchildren? You fucking weirdo.
Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage. We've been watching him closely, and he's moved a muscle, almost, in fact, as if he were a waxwork.
But you...
Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame. I noticed this once, of course. Observe! The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not the old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag.
That's a price... It's 3... It's for his fucking... scarf.
all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looks like. It's a very low price, though. Threepence isn't much money.
Only enough for a few measly hours of gas in Mr. Garrett's delightful lodgings, in fact. So this is the special killer taken from the special exhibit. The waxwork that somebody stole from the museum and tried to ransom for 200 pounds. Is this crusty old policeman Automole? Really? And he's right here? Perhaps we should have a good look around again and another idea crops up. His fucking leg. Sholmes is a dipshit. I called that Sholmes got them flipped. The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious twitch. Even the most realistic waxworks do not exhibit a twitch.
In other words, this splendid old man is in fact a genuine member of Scotland Yard.
A slight shift in your choice of adjectives, then. There you have it. Well,
Madame Tuspels?
Well, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in the first place.
he's clearly fatigued.
He is sound asleep.
But then, what's this tag about showing a price of 3 pence? It says scarf.
No doubt the price tag of the muffler, which the old Bobby purchased recently at the local market. And I presume you've observed the scarf tied around his arm? Does that not strike you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, the secret sign used by detectives to show that some criminal activity is currently underway.
Of course, because, as you know, there has been just such criminal activity happening here. As you deduced from the very beginning, Detective.
So it would seem that we finally arrive at the truth.
He's away. He's like, you motherfucker! Why are you telling the public about our scarves? Waxwork? Oh, the especially ruthless killer from the special exhibit has been kidnapped.
Scotland Yard are already investigating. But the model's whereabouts remain a mystery. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle.
Still a mystery. Deduction complete. Elementary.
All sorts of people visit my museum here, men and women, young and old. Sometimes they drop in just for a short time on their way back from the pub. I welcome them all. But if anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. Anyway. Your great deduction was even more enchanting than I had been led to believe.
Very cute. I agree.
It was a pleasure, my dear madame. I'm gratified that you enjoyed the spectacle. As for your rough customer, I've no doubt he'll regain consciousness shortly and return home. What concerns me more is the waxwork from the special display. It was indeed genuinely abducted.
Yes, tragically it was.
Then I would ask you to recount for us the events surrounding the stolen waxwork. In as much detail as possible, if you please.
Very well. But after I have told you what I know, I must insist that you return to your work.
The talents of a great detective could be put to better use, I feel, but as you wish.
Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please.
It was some days ago now when I came in here one morning. I immediately noticed that a waxwork was missing from the special exhibit here. It is your most prominent display, so that's why the curtains were closed. And I found the ransom note in its place.
The culprit must have broken in during the night and taken it then?
So this waxwork that was stolen, he was a model of some horrible criminal, I suppose.
If she says it's Asman,
the killer who left a more profound scar on society than any other, I would say. The Professor.
not a name I've heard of.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, it seems the circle is complete.
Sorry?
The Professor case happened around the time I was born, didn't it?
Indeed it did, Iris. 10 years ago now, a series of murders had rocketed the capital.
10 years ago?
Yes, at exactly the time that Barak van Zeeks graduated from university, in fact.
What? So, surely he's not saying...
So the big event that changed Mr. Reaper's life.
As you've surmised, it was the Professor case.
Who was the Professor then?
It was a series of gruesome murders that had all London gripped in terror for a decade ago. After 5 victims were killed, the man was arrested and put to death.
And now he's immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Though, of course, he happens to be absent at present on account of the abduction.
But I don't understand. How is all this related to Lord Van Zeeks?
You must first understand, my dear fellow, why it is that the Professor earned such infamy. It was due to the victims he chose, some of Whitehall's finest.
What do you mean, Harley?
Those murdered by the Professor were some of the highest members of the British aristocracy. Members of the nobility, even royalty. It sent shockwaves through the country's administration.
Members of the... Ah, wait, of course! What Professor Hairbrain said. Lord Van Zeeks is from a family with noble blood.
Oh gosh!
It was the 5th victim that led to the Professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of... Barak van Zeeks! Oh, Clint van Zeeks.
Oh, that's his brother up on the picture, his hot brother. No! I don't believe it! Van Zeeks!
I'm sure you can piece together the rest for yourself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, his hotter brother's murder, the uglier Barak pursued a career as a prosecutor, and eventually became the Reaper we know today.
I had no idea Lord Van Zeeks had such a tragic past. Hey, you ain't got nothing on Black Quill, dude. Black Quill's past is better. Did Shelms date both Van Zeeks?
I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter, for the time being at least.
I don't think they knew each other back then.
After all, I have work to do. There's a waxwork exhibit.
I'm afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well.
Oh, yes, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. It has been a pleasure. I'll tell you what. Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involved you coming to visit me here. Oh.
It's been too long, really it has. I'm delighted to see you, Barak.
I don't remember what voice I did for this guy.
It's been 10 years, and here we are, meeting in a prison of all places.
I can't forgive myself to what happened to Mr. Aspen. I just can't. I still can't believe it could happen.
Tomorrow, the court will decide.
Yes. I have a young Eastern man acting for my defense. He seems reliable enough, though. It was an accident, a terrible accident. He assures me he could prove it.
I must warn you.
Oh, I know. I've heard already. You're going to be prosecuting, aren't you?
Yes.
Since I returned to England, I've heard lots of stories. Barak, are you really?
What?
Never mind. I know that you have my best interest at heart. My friend is on trial. I wouldn't entrust it to anybody else. Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Barrack. Until tomorrow, then. I'll see you in court.
Warframe. Alright, do y'all want to keep going? Do I go through the... Because I looked it up beforehand just to figure out how long we were going to go tonight. And this case is an investigation, 2 court pieces, investigation, 2 court pieces. So, technically, if we want to get this done in 2 weeks, we should do 2 court pieces right now. But we could just make this a fucking month-long trial. So... what do you think? I'm gonna hit the restroom, I'm gonna play an ad, and we'll be back. Run 1 minute ad break. Is it running? Is my ads running? They're calling it there? Alright, well, in that case, I guess, yeah. I guess good night, everybody. I guess that is going to be the stream. Oh, oops. The old Bailey. Probably a good idea to stop. I'm also getting pretty tired. I would not mind eating dinner at some point. Alright. Well, fuck. Go back to title. Alright, well, that is going to be it for the stream. Thank you for joining. That was fun. Madam Two Spell's a cutie. And next week we will tackle, or maybe tomorrow. You know what? We'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to tackle the thing. Maybe. If I don't do it tomorrow, it'll be next week, but maybe. We'll see how tomorrow pans out. If I don't have other shit to do, I will do that then. Otherwise, next week. Preparing 1 minute ad. What? What does that mean? Oh, I guess you can only run a 1 minute ad every so often. Anyways, good night, and I will maybe see you guys back here tomorrow, and maybe not. That all depends on whether or not I will be working on other things. Bye! Have a good evening. Do 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 do. Ba da ba 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 da ba ba ba.